Hello, my name is Teacher Joko, and I'm an IELTS instructor and teacher and administrator at a school in Myanmar. And I'm American, actually. I haven't done one of these, see if I can belt this thing out in 10 minutes type of review, so excuse me if I'm rushed or incomplete in my response. It's because I don't have a lot of time. I gotta go to work. Okay, we have a task 2 response here from someone who needs a 7 in writing. Okay, that's a big hurdle there. Let's see how she does. Here's the question. Looks to be an official question, at least from the formatting. Important people to take risks, both in their professional lives and their personal lives. Do you think the advantages of taking risks outweigh the disadvantages? Okay. So when you get a question like this, first thing you need to do is identify what question type it is. Now here it's pretty simple. Do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? It's not to what extent do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Okay. So be careful not to mix up your question types. Some questions say, to what extent do you agree or disagree? That's not what this is saying. It's just saying outweigh. Okay, now, from this, my color coding. Blue is coherence and cohesion and readability. From the very first sentence, as an examiner, I suspect that you have memorized some canned phrases that can be used with any essay. It can be argued. Well, anything can be argued. So that doesn't really mean anything. So I don't give you any kudos for lexical resource with using words that fit in every essay and can be easily memorized. Okay? And look at the sentence. It can be argued that every human being will experience risk at one point or another in the course of their lifetime. People experience risk. That's what the sentence is saying. People experience risk. 3 words. And you've taken 5, 10, 11, 15, 20, 23 words to say what could be summarized in 3 words. Now this means that your essay is starting off very slowly. Okay, it's burdening the reader with obvious observations that don't mean anything. Okay, it can be experience risk at one point or another. Why do you need all those words? People experience risk. This is an important aspect of life. And that's blue because it affects readability. This is an important aspect of life. The decision of how much risk to take isn't in either our personal or professional lives is one we'll consider because we'll be faced with. Okay, another really long sentence to say, there's impacts to how much risk you take in life, or a person takes in life. Okay. Now, the yellow is word choice. And here, important aspect, important is in the question. And there's lots of other words you can use instead of important. Personal or professional lives. That's the exact same phrasing. Oh no. Okay, personal lives and professional lives is in this question. But personal and professional lives is the exact same phrasing as the question. So it doesn't show this opening paragraph. It doesn't show you really understand the question. It doesn't show that you are able to paraphrase the words in the question. Okay? And you're using the incorrect tone. Avoid the we or I in an IELTS essay. It's not academic to say is one we will be constantly faced with. We use we to appeal to someone's emotions. And so a persuasive essay would use we, but not an academic one. It's not we. Oh, why we? So, people, or human, and don't say human being either. Human being is a biological term. Okay. Supersedes means to take the place of. So are advantages taking the place of the disadvantages? Now, this second paragraph, the whole thing is orange for task response, because I have to ask, what is the function? I'll come back to that. What is the function of this second paragraph? It's like a second introduction. it has, it's some general statements. It's got some, you're trying to show off with your vocabulary. People reduce themselves to non-functional members of the society, simply moving through life monotonously. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, people who avoid risk are good workers. They do what they're told, and they're very much, well, so I disagree with what you're saying here, but that's not important. It doesn't add to your essay. It doesn't belong in, it's like a second introduction. Okay, then you get to firstly, which is a fine, if not predictable, connector. Okay, professional life. Once again, you're using the words from the question. Risk-taking, I should have put that yellow. Risk-taking does need a hyphen in there. Otherwise, it might be interpreted as two words. Risk, taking one's self into, risk might take you somewhere. Not risk-taking, which is a compound noun, which needs a hyphen. And you use the word risk like 13 times in this essay. Professional life, also from the question. You can find other ways to say that. Work, employment, job, career. And here, when it comes to task response, it's good at certain points to hedge. Hedging means, making a statement, but making it softer by using words like can. Risk-taking in one's professional life can increase the likelihood, and not that it does, but in this case, I think a stronger worded expression of your opinions is needed. It's not a can increase. Well, of course, anything can. The likelihood of career growth and personal development. This point is about professional life, not personal development. Personal development's the next point. Because a person that takes risks is more likely to take on. Okay, take on. Okay, it's a good point. This last sentence just baffles me. However, the precarious position, a lovely use of alliteration, but you don't get points for being poetic. Alliteration, using the same consonants in multiple words, is not being judged here. What precarious position that comes with taking risks in one's professional life can be understood? What? It sounds like you're, with the however, it's like you're taking the other side there. The however is a contrast word, meaning that, the first part of this paragraph is taking risks is good. However means, so I don't understand the statement because it's not coherent. And then, but I'm left with the impression that you're contradicting yourself. But your whole essay, your thesis is that risk-taking is more important than not risk-taking. So, your position is not clear. Secondly, in one's personal life, the entirety of entirety is not really what you want to use there. Okay, is fraught with the risk of betrayal or separation. Though you need to I think you need to define those terms. Like, what do you mean by that? Betrayal or separation. I mean, you might seem, but you should really spell that out. That you give your heart to someone and they might break it. Also, I should note at this point that you've never in this essay defined what you mean by risk or what is risk. I think that it's such an important concept in this question that risk needs to be defined. It's not. Okay, if people were to avoid risk-taking, and risk-taking needs a hyphen again, but this is a bit over the top. Or general, if there are no risk-taking entirely, no one's saying that people should take no risks. You're convoluting the question. It's not that it's not suggested that people should risk entirely. So you can't change the question. This convinces me. Same point as earlier. Don't use me or we or I in academic essays. For example, in deciding to pursue a relationship with my current partner. Affairs of the heart, are they decisions? was opening myself to the potential risk. Opening myself to the potential risk of heartbreak. Okay, I was opening myself to the risk of heartbreak. We don't need potential in there. I have come to terms with the fact that risk is woven through the fabric of any relationship. You're just trying to show off with your vocabulary here, and you haven't established that you understand the basic vocabulary that's being given to you. You could woven through the fabric is a nice idiom, but it's kind of a bit over the top for an academic essay, and it can be easily memorized. Use woven through the fabric. I bet that would be good. However, once again, we have however to end the paragraph. First of all, don't repeat the sentence structure or the structure of consecutive paragraphs. It looks like that's what you've memorized of how to write a paragraph is firstly, secondly, don't show me anything. However, repetition. I've gained in my opinion. You don't need to say in my opinion there. You can just the ever-present risk. Oh, what a job, what a relationship you must have. In conclusion, risk-taking, once again, hyphen, is an integral part of one's life. Yes. And to separate ourselves from it, no, would be the equivalent to giving up on life itself. Bit over the top there on the end. You can, that the benefits outweigh the possible harm. Something like that. It's not take risks or die. That's a bit, again, you don't get points for being bombastic. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope I recorded this right. So overall, we probably want a band score, huh? Okay, I haven't done this in a long time, so it's a risk to give a band score, but I will take it in this instance. Task response. Yeah, for this mistake right here with the however, when you contradict yourself, it's not, you don't have a clear position throughout. I think you can, if you work harder and are more careful, you have the language potential to doing that. So I can't say that you have a clear position throughout. So you can't get the 7 there. Coherence and cohesion, it could be higher than a 7 if you got rid of all those phrases that don't mean anything. But at 7, lexical resource, you haven't proven, but it's sufficient. So I'd say a 6.777. So that's not a 7, unfortunately. You have to score. So a 6.875 is not rounded up to a 7. It's rounded down to a 6.5.